Senator Ron Johnson's committee issued its first subpoena in the Biden-Burisma probe. If you recall, Hunter Biden worked for a gas company, Blue Star, with ties to Ukraine. And the probe will look into whether the Obama administration's actions in Ukraine were corrupt. Simultaneously, Senator Lindsey Graham is looking into the origins of the Russian collusion probe. And this could be a major strategy for Republicans in November. But the big question, is it a winning strategy? Let's ask our company Republican strategist, Adam Goodman, and Michael Knowles, host of The Michael Knowles Show. Gentlemen, thanks for being here with us. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so let's kind of break this apart first. And I think the key thing that I want to talk about is not whether it's the right thing or whatever. That's a whole separate discussion. But is it a politically smart thing? So let's start with what Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin is doing in the Homeland Security Committee. He's looking into this whole Hunter Biden, Burisma deal where he got paid $50,000 a month to sit on a board of a company that he had absolutely no experience to be on, and whether or not there was any concern there. So he wants all these documents. So, Michael, let me start with you. Is it a good idea to go down this rabbit trail? Will it pay off for the Republicans and Ron Johnson to be doing this?
I think it's a politically very wise strategy going into November. You know, the Democrats have nominated Joe Biden because in many ways he's like the absence of a candidate. You know, he's a total empty suit. You can put on him whatever you like. And what the Republicans are showing is that perhaps there's some serious corruption that has gone here. You had the leaked audio that just came out of this phone call between Joe Biden and then Ukrainian President Poroshenko talking about a deal in question to fire the prosecutor who may have been looking into Hunter Biden. So I think it stinks to high heaven. You know, William Barr the other day, the Attorney General, said that we don't want to get into a situation where we've got criminal investigations of political candidates. And I think that's very true. The trouble is, if you've had investigations from the Democrats into Republicans, then we can't unilaterally disarm. I think it plays very well for the president. So
Adam, my thought, though, is I get exactly what Michael said, right? And it kind of can expose a lot of stuff. But I also feel right now this is kind of like the Tara Reade situation, which is everybody who is agreeing with the Trump folks that we need to do this is already with you. And the people who, you know, aren't going to be with you are never going to be persuaded by that. Or do you think that there are persuadable people that will say, based on what Michael just said, there's this corruption there, I'm now not considering voting for Joe Biden?
Well, I agree with everything Michael just said. But can we just talk about the straight politics of this? I'll tell you why it's a good thing for the president's reelection. Number one, it's going to fire up the base. This kind of investigation always gets people's attention, and it will certainly get the rapt attention of the Trump base and Republicans who want to reelect him. Number two is it's going to force Joe Biden to defend himself on turf that he's going to be very shaky on. And we've seen already in the early debates, in particular, Democratic debates, how bad I think Joe Biden has been on his feet when he's under attack. All of which leads to number three, which is what this is all about. We, to this point, have really seen nothing but a one-person race. It's been a referendum on the president of the United States, and most especially on his handling of COVID-19. It's about to become a two-person race. And I think that's all to the advantage of the president, because when that starts to happen, when a real campaign is underfoot, then we start to hear the largely untold and unknown stories of Joe Biden, one of which is what we're talking about right now.
And gentlemen, I think you both make really good points that it definitely will fire up the base. It could put Joe Biden on the defense. But I think an interesting point that I still wonder is, do Democrats actually care? Do they get riled up like this? And to Sean's point, we look at the Tara Reade situation. When you have Democrats coming out saying, I don't care if Tara Reade is right, I'm still going to vote for Joe Biden. I want a coronation of Joe Biden. And so to this point, does it move the needle for the people that are the swing voters? Are they going to care enough, or are Republicans just going down a rabbit trail here and just firing up the base, and it makes no effect at all to those swing voters? Michael?
I think it is demoralizing for some swing voters and for some Democrats as well. Don't forget, the nomination of Joe Biden is demoralizing to a lot of Democrats who feel that he was, you know, the last choice. They don't really want this guy. They think he's past his prime. So I agree with everything Adam just said. It really puts them on their feet. And to Sean's point, I think this election is going to come down more to turnout than to persuading people in the middle. I think Donald Trump has had 100% name recognition since the 80s at least. People know what they think of this guy. And so if you can demoralize some Biden voters, which shouldn't be that hard to do, that might be a good way to get things going. But really, you want to fire up your base, say you're really taking these investigations seriously. And I think that's what we're seeing.
How about you, Adam?
Well, I think once this campaign gets to the point where Joe Biden is put under pressure to answer for things, that's when things, I think, start to slip for him. And again, as I told you about the unknown parts of his record, a lot of people don't know how he repeatedly voted for cuts in Social Security. He praised segregationists. He was for bad trade deals. And I don't want us to minimize the Tara Reade allegation and at least 7 other women who have said that there was everything from sexual inappropriateness to a sexual attack. When Joe Biden has to answer for these, as opposed to how he's going to get his next cup of coffee and walking from his studio in his den to his kitchen, which is what his campaign's been for 60 days, I think you're going to see a different kind of Joe Biden, and that is all to the good of the president, his reelection. And I think it will fire up not just Republicans, it will fire up a lot of other Americans who are looking for real leadership.
Yeah, see, right now, though, I would disagree and say that, yes, both bases are fired up, but the Democrats aren't voting for Joe Biden. I think to Michael's point, they're voting against Donald Trump. They'll vote for a doorknob over Trump right now because they want, their agenda is so threatened. Michael, kind of moving on to what Lindsey Graham is doing, which is trying to potentially subpoena folks to find out what happened with all of these people that were on mask, what the origins of the Russian probe were. Is that worth going down for political purposes?
That's essential from a political point of view to go down. I mean, it's essential from a justice point of view, but certainly from a political point of view, because we know for a fact that the Obama administration was spying on President Trump while he was running, before he came into office, and was undermining his administration. That is not something that's up for debate. The question is, who knew about it? What did they know? And when did they know it? Now the left is trying to defend themselves and say that in a certain phone call, Michael Flynn's name was not masked in the first place, though there were unmasking requests earlier. Well, it doesn't make me feel any better that they were spying on Michael Flynn earlier than that. Actually, that seems to double down on our need for these investigations. I think they're the right thing to do, and I think it's going to help in November.
Gentlemen, Michael, Adam, thank you so much for your insights, and we will see how it does help in November.
Thank you.
Good to see you.